Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 6. Our presentation today is about inflection. Let me introduce the members. The first one is Talin Fania Manjani, Alda Alfiana Hilal, Raya Prawira, Dewi Nafatlullah, Hamsina, Arjuna Agil Amnur, Helena Dada, and Nurin Sani.
The first discussion is about the definition of inflection. Inflection is a process of word formation of adding an affix to a word which is modified according to the rules of grammatical categories. In other words, it involves the formation of grammatical forms of a single lexeme, such as present, past, singular, plural, masculine, feminine, voice, case, aspect, person, number, gender, mood, and definiteness. The second one is in inflection, the use of grammatical forms is determined by the structure of the sentence. The inflection make a different form of the same word. The third is inflection doesn't change the core lexical meaning or applicable lexical category of the word. We could say that the inflection doesn't change the word class or part of speech and meaning of the word. The last is the inflection is determined by syntax. It is the realization of morphosyntactic features or properties. For instance, tense, aspect, number, and case. Realization of morphosyntactic features. 1. Exponents. Exponent is divided into 4 types. First, simple exponents. It is one-to-one relationship between form and meaning as one morpheme realizes one morphosyntactic feature. Example, cis, the morpheme s is the exponent of the morphosyntactic feature plural. Silent, the morpheme de is the exponent of past tense or past participle. The second, cumulative exponents. It refers to the morphosyntactic feature mapping onto single form. It can appearance of more than one be seen in the characteristic or feature of verbal inflection, such as person, number, tense, mood, and voice. It reflects the subject-object agreement. The third, extended exponents. It refers to a single morphological feature is realized simultaneously on more than one form. The fourth, context-free and context-sensitive inflection. It refers to a single directional mapping between morphological feature and a particular phonological string. It can be seen in present participle, realized as in context-sensitive inflection, the realization of a morphosyntactic features varies.
Phonological realizations of the feature past. A blout or partial suppletion. Example, run, sat, won, and run. Suppletion or total suppletion. Example, was and when. Oak or zero suppletion. Example, hit and put. D. Example, send and lend. D. Example, help, struck, and wanted.
Next is realization of morphosyntactic features. Number 2, inherent versus assigned inflection. Morphosyntactic properties which are neither agreement properties nor governed properties are said to be inherent. C.V. Anderson 1985-172. From a morphological perspective, inherent properties are of two types. First, an inherent property may be associated with the some but not all words in a lexeme paradigm. Second, a property may be invariably associated with the words in a lexeme paradigm. An example of assigned inflection is case, the use of different forms of nouns or pronouns in order to show whether they are the subject or object of a clause or whether they are possessive. Example, I or me, who or whom, Mary or marries. The third is government versus concord. Government is more or less what it sounds like. One word dictates the form of another. Example, verbs and nouns or prepositions and nouns relationship. Concord or agreement occurs when one element in a sentence takes on the morphosyntactic features of another element. Example, he walks and we walk.
Inflectional categories. 1. Nominal category. A. Number. The way in which difference between singular and plural are shown. A grammatical distinction which determines whether nouns, verbs, adjectives, etc. in a language are singular and plural. In English, it can be seen particularly in nouns and demonstrative, like book singular and books plural. Dual number. It changed the meaning of the plural form more than one to more than two. Both cast the plural quantifier all to mean more than two. B. Gender. The grammatical difference between masculine and feminine words such as he and she. That's make a difference for a male and woman.
C. Case. Case is a grammatical category that shows the function of a noun or non-phrase in a sentence. The form of a noun or non-phrase changes to show the different functions of cases. The first, nominative. The form of a noun or non-phrase which usually show that the noun or non-phrase can function as the subject of a sentence. The second, accusative. The form of a noun or non-phrase which usually show that the noun or non-phrase functions as the direct object of the verb in a sentence. The third, ergative. A verb which can be used either transitively to focus on the person who performed an action or intrusively to focus on the things affected by the action. The fourth, genitive, the possessive form of a noun. The fifth, dative, the noun or non-phrase which refers to the person or animal affected by the state or action of the verb in the dative case. The last, locative, the noun or non-phrase which refers to the location of the action of the verb is in the locative case. D. Person. Universally, there are only three persons in all spoken language. Nouns are always third person. First and second person form are always pronouns. The major difference among languages lies on the first person plural.
The next point is about inflectional categories. The first is about tense. Tense is a category of morphosynthetic properties distinguishing a finite verb's temporal reference. In Latin, for instance, verbs inflect for three tenses. They are past, present, and future. It means tense is the relationship between the form of the verb and parts of time, like past, present, and future. So what's the meaning of past? Past is the time has been passed. Present is the time which is continuing right now. And future is the time that has not come yet. For example, the form when refers to the past, goes to present, and will go to future. Or another example, like the form gave refers to the past, gives to present, and will give to future. The second is about aspect. Aspect is a category of morphosynthetic properties distinguishing the various senses in which an event can be situated at a particular time interval. Grammatical category which deals with how the event described by a verb is viewed, such as whether it is in progress, habitual, repeated, momentary, and so on. In other words, aspect refers to the state of action of a verb and indicates the completion of an event. It may be indicated by prefix like anti, the, this, in, suffix like ing, or other changes to the verb, or by auxiliary verbs like have, will, should, may, and would. English has two aspects. They are progressive and perfect. Progressive is an event that is continually unfolding in time. Progressive use is, am, are, was, were, followed by the affix ing. For example, he is jumping or we are watching a movie. Perfect is an event that is already completed. For example, I have finished my work. Even though finishing the homework is the completed action, but the focus is on the fact that the action is done and that the speaker no longer has the homework obligation.
The third verbal category is mood. Mood is an attitude, intention, or point of view of the speaker. Mood are divided in three parts. The first one is indicative mood. Indicative mood is a form of the verb used the declarative or question in present, past, and future. Example, she is going to the town tomorrow. The second one is imperative mood. Imperative mood is an order to invitate you as second person, singular or plural. Example, I give you the order to go, not you go. The third one is subjunctive mood. Subjunctive mood is a form of the verb used to express uncertainly wishes or desire that haven't happened and may not happen. Example, it's important that she arrive on time. The fourth part of verbal categories is voice. Voice is relationship between the action, verb, and the elements involved in it. It has to do with the role of subject as agent or patient. When the subject of the sentence is the one that does or performs the action, we get an active voice. But when the subject is the one who receives it is passive voice. The two can differ in voice, but they have some basic meaning. Example, I eat an apple. I, as a subject, conceptually and grammatically does the action or become active. But when an apple is eaten by me, the subject conceptually receives it or become passive by me or agent.
Phonological realization of the feature. 1. Affixation and stem affixation. 2. Apopony, upload, and umlaut. 3. Root and pattern morphology. 4. Suppletion full and partial suppletion. 5. Reduplication.